Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Emily Murnen with us. She is the founder of Wild Elm Events. So welcome to the show, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. We're excited to have you as well. And we'll dive in. The first question I have for you, Emily, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
The best story would be a few years ago when I was in a corporate job feeling unfulfilled but not quite knowing what my next step would be. And an opportunity presented itself to start a farmer's market in my neighborhood. And on paper, it was a terrible idea, leaving a stable job, stable income to start a small nonprofit. But in my heart, I was saying yes, because it was combining my experience in event planning with my passions in building community and food justice and being an incubator for small businesses. So I took the leap. I put all my eggs in the farmer's market basket and left my corporate job. And it's been such a fun ride ever since. And it's opened up doors that I never would have had the opportunity to take if I had stayed in my corporate job. And so the big lesson is really just taking that big leap and following your dreams and what your heart's really desiring and just doing the work to make it happen.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that is within your expertise or industry?
The most valuable piece of information, in my industry, it's events, but really it's all about connection and community. And my advice would be to really just treat events and any sort of business thing through the lens of relationships versus transactions. Like go to events, really just looking to connect on a deeper level with people and really finding out what their needs are, what they're wanting, and kind of do it from a place of service rather than just wanting all the content.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice? You're not necessarily industry specific.
Yeah, so it's still along the same lines. It's really just invest in relationships and surround yourself with people who are, 1 to 2 levels above where you're at, and find the mentors and the coaches who are where you want to be.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
It would be to be more intentional about the direction I want to take and really understand the goals, and that I need to be intentional about taking those steps to reach those goals versus just kind of letting things happen or just kind of doing the easier path.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
The key to happiness for me is really just gratitude and also being fully present. This is something I sometimes struggle with, but when I'm really able to just ignore the distractions and all the noise and be really focused on what I'm doing, whether it's with my kids, whether it's working, whether it's with friends, if I'm really fully present, that's when I find the most happiness.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
The best book that I've read, because I've read it so many times, would be The Alchemist. And there's so many lessons in that book. But one of the things is really that the journey is more important than the actual destination. And that when you're pursuing your heart and your dreams and, you fall and you get up and you fall and you get up again, it's really that journey, the ups and downs, the people that you meet. That's the important part. It's not necessarily the destination.
And what's your favorite quote and why?
My current favorite quote is by Eleanor Roosevelt. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. And for me, I think life really is just about experience, whether that's relationships, whether it's, that journey. It's all about these relationships and experiences. And so just to live it, without fear and just keep living it is what life's about.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
My website, wildelmevents.com, or on Instagram at wildelmevents.
Perfect. Thank you again for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.